What's up, everyone? Dem Boys back at it, man. This one is going to be so important. So, I gave y'all a really sick 3-4 blitz scheme, and I kind of want to talk to you guys about, well, how to play it as a scheme, right? How are we going to fill this in? What do you need to know? So we're going to talk first about formational adjustments. If your opponent is in a certain formation, there are certain things you need to understand. So we're going to kind of just dive into some generalizations about that. I'm going to talk to you guys about the run versus the pass, how you might want to handle that. Um, we're going to talk to you about how to handle things when the quarterback rolls out. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about how I do it if I want to send 5. If I'm sending 6, I still use the same setup that I gave you guys, but I do have a little bit different setup if I'm sending 5, as well as versus run, as well as if the quarterback is rolling out. So that's kind of the stuff we're going to cover. First, we're going to talk about the spread formation. Now, this is a generalization. This is true of any formation where you only have one guy outside of the line and the quarterback in the box, right? So we only have a running back in the backfield. We do not have as well a tight end. We do not have a fullback, nothing like that. So essentially they cannot max protect. They can only block 6. Okay, that's going to mean, well, 2 things to you. The first is you don't need to send as much heat. Okay? Second is you're going to have to base a line. So now that we've been, again, I always kind of first tell you guys to use the auto base line just to make life easier. Now that you're accustomed to running it, or if you're good with setups, I just come out in my default. I'm not going to base a line. If I have to base a line, I will. But many formations, you will not have to base a line. Bunch, you're not going to have to base a line because everybody's compressed. You guys are going to be there, right? So most formations where they're going to have 2 guys in line, you don't have to. Most formations with 2 guys in line, you don't have to base a line. If there's 2 receivers to one side, you probably will. So, just to kind of show you guys that, we come out in the cover 4, and of course our outside linebackers are spread wide. So in this case, I'm going to have to base a line, right? So I base a line, you go through the setup. Now, they can only block 6, sending 7. I mean, if you do, it's going to get there right away. But typically, if someone's spreading you out like this, it's because they know they want to create a little bit of space for a quick route, So typically what I'll do in that case is then I'll come in here like this, and I'll be watching, who's coming on some kind of a little quick slant, or dig, or drag, typically something like that is what you're going to be looking for. So that's the first adjustment that I wanted to talk to you guys about that I think is extremely important to understand formationally. If they can't max protect, you can send 1 less and play a little better coverage. So we still have a numbers advantage, right? They've got 4 receivers. We've now got 5 guys in coverage. We're continuing to maintain an advantage however we can. So next I want to give you guys a few different setups that you might use: run versus pass, why. There are so many different ways you can set a blitz like this up, which is why I love it, right? If somebody's picking up one thing, switch it up and send it slightly differently, right? This is such a versatile blitz scheme, and that's why I called this the best blitz in Madden, and I'll say this is the best blitz scheme in Madden, because you cannot send 7. There's no formation in which you can send 7 more ways than 3-4 odd, right? You can do a million different things up front with 3-4 odd. You can bring everybody down on the line and have it look like a sugar rush. It's endless, right? So let's say they're in some kind of a run formation. That's what I'm looking for is the likelihood of a run. So, I'm sure you guys have seen the pinch the line, spread the linebackers, blitz all contain setup. I do like to slant my pass rush inside, so these guys are kind of firing in. When I feel like they'll pull the guards in, and a lot of times create a hole for this guy or the other guy to go ahead and shoot. And I'll actually kind of usually, if I'm playing a cover 4, bring my safeties in like so. anytime we are playing run D, if there's nobody out wide, I'm going to take this B in this case, and we're going to go ahead and cloud flatten him. That is just general run defense. And I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Just think about it for a second. A quarter on the edge bails out. A cloud isn't really bailing out. So its first step is going to be, and then I'm always going to use the guy on the weak side. Let the computer go in here and either shoot a gap or eat up blocks. Right? So you see how the pinch, the end fired in there? Now imagine if there's a slant or something, or a slant. A slant! The running back is going to run a slant at a 45-degree angle. Therefore, it is a slant. Where do I come up with this shit? Stretch. Stretch. You can imagine how that would work, right? Now, I still do like my spread the line, pinch the rush setup if I know they're running. And then so if they're in a formation like this, I would cloud flat. This guy's getting blitzed. If I have time, I'll maybe move him out a step. This guy's going on a hard flat. This guy's going on a spy. There you go. Now, if I really think you're running, that's likely how this is going to play out. If you give me a ton of time, this guy might even get blitzed or manned up on X as well, just to prevent some kind of a quick slant, something like that. So he's kind of a wild card. But this is really how my strong side kind of run defense would be set up. Cloud flat, hard flat, the quarters over the top, a spy in case they're running in the middle, defensive line again, spread, and pinched inside. And that would be typically how I play run defense. But again, switching things up never hurt anybody, alright? That's a fact. Now, if they're rolling outside a lot with the quarterback, I'm going to give you the same setup, more or less, as another run setup. If they're kind of getting wide of me, or even if they're not, let's say some of the stuff I normally do isn't working great, I will spread my line, spread my linebackers, blitz all linebackers, slant my pass rush inside, and contained. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and then press. As usual, I'll move these guys in a little bit. Now, I know it looks wide open up the middle, but the way everyone pinches in and closes it down, it really typically is not. If they need 1 yard, is this a great idea? No. But, if you want to hold their run to a couple yards, potentially blow it up in the backfield, yeah, it's a great idea. Boom. See? Like I said, potentially blow it up in the backfield, yeah, it's a great idea. Because everybody gets so wide, and then again, we go ahead and slant this pass rush inside. So they're starting so wide, and it kind of just pulls the line in a bit. Again, we would put B on a cloud. This would really be how it would look if we wanted to send everyone out. Much better run defense up the middle than I ever expected it to be, seriously. That one threw me for a bit of loop, kind of counterintuitive. So next we're going to cover sending 5 and quarterback rolling out. Now when the quarterback's rolling out, you could of course always set a spy. It's one way to handle it. But if you want to really still heat him up a bit, this is how I handle it. So now again, you see in a gun bunch, I don't care that this guy's out a little bit further anyways, especially for this setup. But in no setup do I care about that, so you do not need to base a line when all you guys are inside. So that saves you a step. So again, we we go ahead and take our defensive line and spread them. We take our linebackers and spread them. We blitz all contain. This time I'm going to take the defensive line and I'm going to slant my pass rush outside as opposed to inside. That's really your only difference here, guys, is they're going to go slanted outside. And of course we'll press like usual. So if I try to get outside of this, very difficult. Very, very difficult, guys. Captain Ron, you had kind of asked me about stopping some of these unguardable corners and things like that, and this is really kind of what I was talking about when I said go ahead and just send the heat wide. Now this is if they max protect. We'll see how it looks. You know, nothing is it's not a completely 100%, right? They could potentially get around you, but more often than not, it's gonna be pretty tough. Yeah, I mean, that's commonly how this is gonna look, and that was a max pro. Again, they cannot double team a guy who is out super wide, right? So if I want to try to set a double team mechanic out there, I can't. The best I could do is I could try to double team him and ID him and just kind of do it backwards. Then max pro, maybe slide the line that way to boot. About all you got. You know, and there's just really no good answer. We could, let's see. Just trying to bust my own play. Let's see if I have success, right? So we go max pro. Let's take and we'll slide to the right. And see, I also have to try to figure out when you're ID and 3 back, when there's any kind of a looper or crosser, who's going to rush where, right? Is this guy third? Is this guy not? So here goes a little hint. When I am up against these types of blitzes, I'll usually ID the end. Just as a general rule of thumb, typically how I'll do it. And yet and still, no good answer, right? So definitely wanted to highlight that. Now, if I'm sending 5, this could be because they're in some kind of a spread set, right? Or maybe they're just kind of chopping up the blitz and they're going to make me do something a little bit different, you know? Who knows? Maybe they're sending out a few more routes and they're beating me quick. Maybe they are able to get around my contain and I want to set a spy, but I also want to have some more coverage. Various reasons you might do it. But how I'm going to do that is, of course, we always press. I'm going to take the defensive line, spread them wide, take the linebackers, pinch them in. In this case, I would move this guy in. Here we go. So this would be my setup. Again, we are slanting our pass rush outside, which this in and of itself is not a bad setup because you do create this looper. So you could set this up and just send everyone. But I can't take any credit for that. That's not me. It's been also done where you pinch the line, then you spread them, and it creates a little bit different animation in here and really heats this looper up. But if y'all want to see somebody run something like that, you're going to need to go watch D-Craft. So shout out D-Craft. But that having been said, I'm not trying to utilize this in that manner. I could go ahead and spy him and drop him back in coverage, right? I would oftentimes utilize this with a cover 2 shell. That would probably be the most common time I would utilize this is when I'm playing a cover 2. Maybe I want to keep clouds in so I can't pull my safeties in too far, something like that. Maybe I need to man somebody up, or maybe I need to man 2 people up. Play a safety, you know. Maybe everyone I think is going deep. Maybe these are the 2 guys I think are going deep, and I'm in a cover 2. Now I can kind of come down and cheat. So if I'm only sending 5, that to me is definitely the setup that is going to get you the best pressure. Be on the lookout within a day or 2 for the man coverage portion of this. If you would prefer to do this and play man, I do have a really good way of doing that. So we will be covering that soon. Otherwise, if y'all got any other questions that y'all need answered to make your blitz more effective, please go ahead and drop a comment, ask away. Beyond that, you already know, man, like and subscribe. That's the big thing. Shout out to y'all. My subscriber count has been growing much more rapidly over the last 30 days. We've kind of gotten back up to what I talked about for the giveaway, achieving 2 a day. We've been very close to 2 a day, actually, even since I mentioned that on the giveaway. And by the way, We missed the giveaway by about like 3 or 4 subs to hit the 2 a day thing. So I do appreciate how close we got there. And then we missed the likes and comments on a video by like, it was like 3 or 4 comments. Everybody who entered would have won. Because only 2 of y'all entered. But nonetheless, man, we were really close to hitting those goals, so I appreciate the support. I appreciate y'all trying to push that there for me again, as always. Peace.